Welcome to episode 36 of the Underdog Sports Baseball Show with Bryce Holden and Sam Beck. My name is Chase Midorsky. First time we've been doing this with the three of us all in the same room. Good to be hanging with you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I've seen you a couple of times since Chase, so I don't feel like I'm missing out.
Oh, when did you guys hang out?
Yeah, I know. You sold
Last
me
night
out,
for one.
Oh, okay.
Last week for two.
It's okay. I'm not sensitive. I'll be all right.
I mean, to be fair, last week you could have hung out with us. You just didn't want to go to Bryce's post-Miami game.
That's true. That's fair.
Yeah, you didn't miss much.
That's fair. I'll own that one. Let's talk about baseball, though.
I want to give a quick shout out to Bryce. Finally over that teeth.
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 The teeth. You saw me the day after. I was fine.
Bryce, I always have known that Bryce has a very high threshold for pain, but...
Speaking of which, at 10 o'clock tonight on the History Channel, there's this new show, Kings of Pain. It's these guys who just get stung or bit by animals.
I've actually watched that before. They have a lot of stuff on YouTube. They have, like, the guy stick his hand in, like, a pit of, like, fire ants.
So it's like the mature adult version of Jackass. Like, you don't want to watch Jackass. You're like, I'm going to watch this on the History Channel.
This dude splinted up his arm and found, like, a 25-year-old tortoise that had, like, the strongest jaws in the entire animal kingdom and just straight put his forearm in it. Things, like, snapped his arm like a twig.
I saw the preview. There's a giant cobra.
Oh, yeah. 10 o'clock?
I guess this won't be useful for people listening. 10 o'clock on Mondays. Watch the History Channel.
Shameless plug for the History Channel.
I'll probably watch that.
I'm going to watch it. I'm actually looking forward to it.
Do you know what days American Pickers is on nowadays?
All the time.
But
it's
like new episodes.
No idea.
Love that show.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, I meant to say this to you guys off air. This will be the last non-baseball thing. But this is a debate that I think you two in particular probably have an opinion one way or the other. So in my college group message, the question was, with no context, how do you spell gray? G-R-A-Y or G-R-E-Y?
E-Y, 100%.
All right, we're all on the same page, but you guys have a little more devotion to the color gray than I do, so I guess not so much you anymore, but Bryce, for sure.
E?
All right.
E.
Cool, we're all on the same page. So with that said, we're going to go into our Bovada Sportsbook. No longer picks of the week, but they will now be futures of the week. Like we said the last time we were on air, we're going to go through 3 teams at a time and discuss how we feel about the World Series futures. And again, as free agency and the hot stove get going a little bit, this will change pretty drastically depending on where some of the big free agents go. So the team with the 4th best odds to win the World Series per Bovada are the Braves at plus 1,200. What do you guys think of this? I personally think that maybe if they sign a pitcher or two, you were looking at my computer. That was not mine with the text notifications. Just FYI.
They were texts from you going to me.
Yeah.
Should have known.
Plus 1,200. What do you guys think of this? Too high, too little, or just right for the Braves?
The Braves plus 1,200?
I think that's too low. They have room to spend on that extra arm.
Too low meaning what?
I think they should be less in favor of the gambler.
So you think like plus 1,000?
Plus 1,000 makes more sense.
I was going to say, it seems like good value to me.
Because they're a team that's on the rise. All their stars are young and getting better. Acuna's probably going to be that much better going forward. And they have room to spend if they need that ace, whether it's a Mad Bum or if they really break the bank for a guy like Strasburg or Cole. Or if they upgrade Donaldson to Rendon. I mean, they have room in the budget because Acuna and Albies are on such great contracts. I would take that bet.
Yeah, I think they're going to re-sign Donaldson personally, and I think they're probably the favorites for Mad Bum. So I agree. I think maybe plus 1,000 would have been better, but let me ask you this. Bovada has the top 3 in order as Astros, Dodgers, Yankees. You wouldn't have them above any of those teams, would you?
No, because those 3 teams are locks to make the playoffs, and the competition within the division isn't as strong. Those 3 will win their division. The Nats could get them. The Nats just won the World Series, so in theory they could. What are the Nats coming up on this?
All right, so this is what we're going to do right now. So 5-6, I think actually might be a little bit high. Bovada has the Red Sox at plus 1,400, and then the Nats also at plus 1,400. So we'll call that a tie for 5th. In my opinion, I just think the Red Sox, knowing they might trade Mookie, the pitching staff, Porcello was terrible last year, but at least he was an innings eater. Doesn't seem like there's a ton of reinforcements along the way or a ton of room in the budget. I think the Red Sox are way too high. Personally, looking at some teams below them, I like the Indians or Cardinals more than them. And again, the Nats, I know defending World Series champs, I think if everyone is back for the Nats, then Bovada having them at plus 1,400 is a huge, huge steal. But I think the reality is there's a good chance they're going to lose both Strasburg and Rendon. And if
You think they're going to lose them both?
No, I think Rendon goes to the Rangers because he's from Texas and they have that new stadium money. And I think Strasburg is the one who decides to stay. But if both of those guys are gone, I mean, they're maybe the 10th best team in baseball at best.
I think the Nationals line is all right for now. I agree with you that the Red Sox line,
There's too much.
That doesn't seem like it's close. I don't agree with you that they're going to trade Mookie. I think there's no chance. But if you're going to have a line, take that into account. It needs to be a little bit more value for the better.
Even if they don't trade Mookie, I don't see that team getting better.
Yeah, they also were not good this year.
Unless Devers takes another step towards.
That's my thing. I mean,
they're not getting better.
You had 4 elite hitters in that lineup last year and did nothing with it.
Didn't even sniff the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, Sale is only a year older. I have no trust in Evaldi. I think Eduardo Rodriguez, I think what you got last year might be peak Eduardo Rodriguez. The bullpen still stinks. I don't see them going after any of the big relief names on the market.
Well, they're well over the cap already.
Yeah. Good thing they have Chaim Bloom ready to go, a nice Jewish mensch from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's a bad bet at this point.
You don't even have to say Jewish mensch, do you? That's kind of redundant.
No, you can be a non-Jewish mensch. Jimmy's a mensch.
That's
His
true.
last name's Napolitano.
His mom cooks for us. That's a great mensch move.
Not yet, but maybe someday.
Maybe someday. All right, so this is episode 36. So the quick Yankee rundown of the number. Biggest name to wear 36. I mean, Hall of Famer Johnny Mize wore number 36, but I would say 95% of the people that listen to this podcast have any idea who Johnny Mize is.
Myself included.
So we'll go with a recent one. David Cohn wore 36 for a couple All-Star years with the Yankees. Didn't you tell me that Nick Johnson is your least favorite Yankee of all time? Is that you who told me that?
He's on my Mount Rushmore of least favorite Yankees. Yeah, he's probably top 3.
All right, so
actually, he might be top 1.
So it was Nick Johnson into Tom Flash Gordon.
I liked him. I like Gordon. Didn't he make the All-Star team?
Yeah, I like his son better.
His son's a cheater.
His son is a cheater.
Who's his son?
D. Gordon. How crazy is that D. Gordon's been in baseball for like 8 years and he's Flash Gordon's kid?
He's the old Flash Gordon. I think Josh Gordon.
I kind of like D. Gordon. He's a cheater.
Oh, yeah.
Steroid
He got
guy?
popped for roids.
Which is amazing because I think he's topped out at 170 pounds in his playing career. So whatever cycle he was on did not work.
It was the speed cycle.
Only in the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Garcia wore 36 for the Yankees.
Oh, I didn't like him either.
Current Mets manager Carlos Beltran, 36 for the New York Yankees.
Likable guy.
Billy Butler, who I mentioned.
Sucks.
Anyone remember that Kevin Youkilis played like 20 games for the Yankees?
Yeah.
I hated that.
I don't like when the Red Sox go over.
I hated that more than the Damon playing for the Yanks.
All right, so 2019, you had 4 players wore 36. Breivik Valera.
Who could forget?
Yep. Jake Barrett.
Who could forget?
Most nondescript white name you could have. Kendrys Morales. Very forgettable.
I actually do remember that.
But we ended on a high note. The current number 36 for the New York Yankees, Mike Ford.
Yes.
Yeah, he's good enough.
He's got a big belly.
He's likable.
His last name is the same name of a car.
And he went to Princeton.
Lincoln was shot in Ford Theater.
Thanks, John Wilkes Booth.
All right.
John Wilkes Booth or Lee Harvey Oswald? I got that.
Chase, jeez, come on.
I was right?
Yeah, you were
Are
right.
you guys not even going to dignify me with the response?
Yeah, you were right, but how do you have to question that one?
It's been a while since I took a history class, man.
That's very common knowledge.
Breaking news, Colin Kaepernick to hold workout for NFL teams. All right, back to baseball.
And breaking news, John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln.
Crap, I knew it. So some guys who are also going to make history, the Baseball Writers Association of America this week are announcing their award winners for the 2019 season. We've already had Manager of the Year and Rookie of the Year announced. We'll talk about the Cy Young and the MVP in a little bit. But starting off, today, Manager of the Year was announced. The finalists were in the American League. It was Rocco Baldelli of the Twins, Aaron Boone of the Yankees, Kevin Cash of the Rays. Despite the fact that A.J. Hinch led his team and all of baseball with 107 wins, the Astros manager was not a finalist. Cash and the Rays, 96-win team. They were great. Boone led the Yankees to 103 wins despite all the injuries. Rocco Baldelli 101 wins. Twins won their first AL Central in quite some time, since 2010, I believe. Rocco Baldelli ended up winning the award as they were announced today. Who would you guys have picked to win the award, though?
Like I said on the show when we did our predictions, Rocco Baldelli. He took a Twins roster that wasn't great, on paper didn't seem to be great, and won 100 games. That's very impressive. I know Boone had a lot of injuries to overcome, but that Twins roster is nowhere near as good as the Yanks, and he still managed to get 100 wins out of them. Very good job.
Amazingly enough, Baldelli is the first manager since Lou Piniella on the 2001 Mariners to win Manager of the Year and have their team win 100 games. So it's very hard to have a outstanding year as a manager and win the AL Manager of the Year.
Because it's usually whoever outperforms expectations the most. So it's like taking a team projected to win 80, take them to win about 95. But he took that team to 100 plus. He deserved it.
I'm a homer. I think Boone got robbed.
Yeah, I think. I mean, look, I think Boone overcame the most obstacles of any of these managers. I mean, we had 30 guys on the injured list. That is an absolute ludicrous number.
This was the most injured team, arguably, in the history of modern American professional sports. And
that's a hot take, I think.
Could you, off the top of your head, name a more injured team?
Like the Mets forever.
Yeah, but the Mets
this
forever.
This year's Golden State Warriors.
The Mets forever, but they sucked. Like, they had bad players get injured, replaced them with bad players, and the team did poorly.
Well, Boone did a good job, but I'm not saying he didn't. I said Cash also did an amazing job. He probably did the most game-to-game than the other guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Booney, as great as what he did with the injuries, I think, Bryce, you hit the nail on the head. The Manager of the Year criteria is ultimately who did the most with the least. And for that reason, by that logic, maybe Kevin Cash should have won the award. But, I mean, this is a Twins team that, under Paul Molitor in 2018, I mean, they were below 500 team. Really came out of nowhere to just literally mash their way into the record books.
Yeah, but most with the least, the Yankees played Brett Gardner and Mike Ford.
You hate Brett Gardner.
Brett Gardner's, DJ LeMahieu had a sick year. Gleyber Torres is the best player in baseball. Those are one hot take. But
now, zero hot takes.
But, like, Giancarlo Stanton didn't play. Hicks was injured most of the year. Judge was injured a lot of the year.
All right, I'm just going to be devil's advocate on Brett Gardner, and then we'll stop talking about Brett Gardner.
I don't want to hear his stats.
No, it's just one stat. Wins above replacement, which
I don't believe in that stat. It doesn't make.
You don't have to believe in it, but that is meant to be like the all-encompassing comparing players, different positions, etc., of how much value they had to a team. Brett Gardner's 4.0 WAR was 0.2 below Bryce Harper, and was 66th in all of baseball, pitchers included. He was, and again, this is where I'm going to shoot myself in the foot a little bit, but his wins above replacement was higher than Gleyber Torres's.
Proving your point that stat is garbage. And
George is the 4 in the new college football top 25.
Thank you for changing the subject because I was about to get heated. Let's move on to
also,
something
a quick
that not
aside,
Brett
did you have
Gardner.
any friends who went to Camp Indian Head?
Yes,
growing up
in Pennsylvania.
Dude, crazy vibe. My buddy just texted our group message. Camp Indian Head had to change their name because of 2019 political correctness.
What are they, Camp Native American Head now?
Now it's Camp IHC. Or just IHC, Indian Head Camp.
That's not changing it enough. As someone who may or may not be in love with the Native American woman, I still don't like it.
All right.
Are we going to get Dances with Wolves, Bryce Holden edition in the coming year?
I don't think so, because this girl has a lot of flaws. But I do like her.
All right, moving along.
I like her spunk.
Moving on. Yay. I'm going to just cut you off on that one. Moving along to the National League, the finalists were Craig Counsell of the Brewers, Mike Shildt of the Cardinals, and Brian Snitker for Rookie of the Year. Mike Shildt with the Cardinals, 91 wins, first division titles of 2015. Counsell, another September for the ages, got the Brewers into the wild card game with 89 wins after losing Yelich for the entire month. Snitker, who won it last year, Braves, 97 wins, division title. This was an interesting award because I think you had Snitker, who took the young guys, overachieved a little bit. Shildt, the Cardinals had pretty modest expectations coming into the year. And Counsell, I mean, you lose the best player of baseball and have your best month of the season to get into the playoffs. That in itself is incredible. Shildt won the award. He becomes the first manager in baseball history to win Manager of the Year with no former playing experience at any level of professional baseball. Personally, I'm okay with this. NL Central, I think, was the toughest division in the National League. There really was no horrific team, especially in the first half, before the Pirates completely just bottomed out on and off the field. What are your guys' thoughts? Did they get this right, or it's Manager of the Year? It's so subjective.
Yeah, they got this one right. I almost would have given it to Schilt last year, just because of the in-season turnaround he put together for those guys. So I'd say he deserves this based on the last season and a half of work. But Council, like you said, did a great job. I'll look into the actual voting breakdown. Council second?
Did not look at the
Probably. But they both did a great job. And like you said, NL Central, toughest division in baseball. Good work out of Schilt. Good work out of Council.
Bryce, you just gave me an idea I want to talk about. Something that really irritates me.
I hope this is about baseball and
It
not
is.
the hockey, because we're watching that also.
It is. And Chase, I have a feeling you're going to disagree with me on this.
Okay.
But is there a more frustratingly pompous, self-righteous group of people than baseball award voters and Hall of Fame voters?
You think I'm going to disagree with you?
I don't know. You're a traditional baseball guy.
Hall of Fame? Okay. Bryce, answer the question, and then I will go on a big rant agreeing with you.
Okay.
Well, I'll go on one point. The award voters, who cares? At the end of the day, really, who cares? Your opinion? Do you see that one? There was one guy, I know we'll touch on the Rookie of the Year next. One guy didn't vote for Alonso.
I saw it. That's what triggered this.
And wrote a whole apology.
All right,
dude.
So I read that article. We'll just go right into NL Rookie of the Year, and then I'll go on my rant.
Can I? Before you do that, that guy is such a prick because it's like, dude, you know why you didn't vote for him because you wanted to be the guy that wasn't going to vote for him. Don't apologize for like taking away a unanimous vote when there's no reason that one person shouldn't vote for anybody. That should never happen.
All right,
if it's 99% voting for one guy and somebody else doesn't, they're doing it to be the black sheep, odd man out.
So here's the thing. I read that article. I'm assuming I'm the only one of the three of us who read it today. Yeah. I agree that it can make the guy come off as a prick. But if you actually read it, I mean, his statistical argument and again, he didn't not vote for Pete. He put Pete 2, Soroka 1, just to make that clear. I mean, Soroka...
That's not voting for him, though.
Soroka, by any statistical measurement you want to make, was a top 10 pitcher in baseball this year. Pete was a larger-than-life figure. Any other year, Soroka runs away with this, and the guy's argument was, what Pete did with 53 home runs, setting the rookie record, setting the Mets record, etc., was unbelievable. That's something that's never going to be taken away. His whole point, though, was Pete set a home run record in a year where everybody was giving up everyone was hitting home runs. It was the year of the long ball. Mike Soroka had a historically low home run rate for a division-winning team. His argument through that was it was more impressive how little Soroka gave up home runs, more so than Pete hitting home runs. Whether or not you disagree,
I understand the argument. The logic there is not sound, though.
Just read the article. The guy does a better argument. The guy does a better job justifying himself.
There's a case to be made for Soroka, but it was Pete's award. Pete was the best rookie in baseball.
Yeah. And in a year where everybody was hitting home runs, as you said,
he hit the most.
He hit the most of them. Like, more than anybody else in the National League and more than anyone else in the American League. So
Fernando Tatis was third in that voting, in case anyone was wondering. I think for
Fernando Tatis would have won if he played a full season.
It would have been the craziest vote in any award history, honestly. If you got a full season of Tatis, Soroka with an ERA in the 2.7s, and Pete hitting 53 home runs. To respond to your point about the voters, the BBWA voters who vote for awards, I have less of a problem with because you only have 30 people voting for each award.
30 douchebags.
But what I'm saying is it's a little more select than the Hall of Fame voters, I think. With the award voting, because there's only 30 people aren't voting so much based on gut, grudges, whatever. I think with the Hall of Fame voting, we've seen time and time again, those guys will not vote for somebody strictly because they don't like them, because of this, because of that. I mean, Bonds and Clemens aside, I'll even take steroids out of the equation for a second. I mean, you look at some of the guys that the Hall of Fame voters consistently ignore. I mean, Jeff Kent is a guy who comes to mind who's arguably the greatest offensive second baseman in baseball history. Fred McGriff got voted off the ballot, even though he was, what's the difference, in all honesty, between 493 and 500 home runs?
7.
Correct. 7 is the mathematical answer, yes. But it's just, I think those voters hold themselves to this high moral standard where they're the gatekeepers of baseball and need to do what's right for the game. I think award voters are more voting like, all right, this is who I legitimately think deserves the award.
For me, the other thing is like the lack of unanimous Hall of Famers. When you look at some of the guys who are clearly like I'm doing the finger quotes now, that are, you think of them and you think they're a Hall of Fame player.
Like who's not voting for Griffey? Who's not voting for Randy Johnson? Who's not voting for Pedro? What's wrong with these people?
Pedro, I think, yeah, I mean,
Look at Pedro's baseball reference from 98 to...
no, it's unbelievable. I mean, another example I'll give, because he was the guy who held the record before Randy Johnson and now Mo, who was not going to vote for Tom Seaver?
Right.
He was a historically unbelievable player for a historically awful fucking franchise.
Yeah.
At this point, let's let Pete Rose in.
It's a whole nother bag of worms.
I'm with you on that, by the way.
I feel like that's going to be an episode coming
He's
up.
got to die.
He's going to die, and then he's going to get in, and it's going to be so stupid. It's like
now that Shoeless Joe... Now I think there's going to be more support for Shoeless Joe Jackson to maybe get in.
I think
Now
what
that
Shoeless Joe Jackson did was way worse than what Pete Rose did.
what did he do? I thought he just didn't wear shoes.
Yeah, that's terrible.
You never see the movie 8 Men Out?
No.
It was on MLB Network the other day, and I slept through it.
He was part of a team in 1919 that threw the World Series.
Is that the Black Sox?
Correct.
If you're
Yeah,
part of a team
by
that
the way,
throws the World Series...
But that said, he threw the World Series, going back to Sam's air quotations, he hit 380 in that World Series. A lot of people think, quick Dave Fleischner-esque baseball history lesson, a lot of people think Shoeless Joe, I mean, farm boy, completely illiterate, couldn't read and write at all, that they kind of just threw the money his way and forced him into accepting it, because he played the best of anybody, fixers or non-fixers on his team in the World Series. Continue with your thought, though.
I lost my train of thought.
We're bringing up 100-year-old World Series.
You ever see Field of Dreams? He's in that, too.
Nah.
It's Ray Liotta.
You never seen Field of Dreams?
Pause. Yeah. You've
No.
never seen Field of Dreams?
That's way
I don't
worse
even-
than me never seen
I don't even
any
like
Star
baseball.
Wars.
I don't even know.
out of your mind?
I don't even know why I do this podcast.
You've never seen Field of Dreams?
I don't know. What's your father-son relationship like?
I'm moving out.
Yes.
I'm going to call Joel after the show, I think.
I don't know if he's seen Field of Dreams.
Joel's seen Field of Dreams.
He's probably watched it with Hank and Jack.
Probably watched it with Rachel.
They're all the favorites. That would make sense.
Him and Buddy have definitely watched it together.
That's true.
All right, can you try to watch Field of Dreams by the next time we do a podcast? It's a quick movie.
Absolutely.
No, it's not.
I'll say yes, but no. I'll say yes, but the answer is no.
It's like truly one of the best movies ever made,
How
not
about
just
this?
baseball movies.
Listen to the Simmons rewatchables on Field of Dreams.
I can do that.
Shameless plug for a different podcast.
I'll put it on my list of things that I'll get around to at some point in the next 3 years.
All right, good talking to you.
All right, podcast over.
Anyway.
We almost had it.
Almost had it.
Dude, there's so many notes.
I know.
All
I
right.
don't know. I didn't read any of them.
All right, AL Rookie of the Year is a quick one. Finalists were Brandon Lowe and John Means of the Rays and Orioles, respectively, but this was Yordan Alvarez's award to win from the get-go. He was unanimous. Debuted on June 9, 313, 412, 665, 27 homers, 78 ribbies. Prorated over 650 plate appearances, 48 homers, and 137 ribbies. Very impressive. AL MVP, that'll be announced later this week. Bregman and Trout were the two front runners. But what were your guys' thoughts on Marcus Semien coming in third in the voting?
Should have been LeMahieu. He was the only consistent Yankee. I mean, I guess there's a case to be made for Gardner.
Shut up.
But he doesn't exist in this podcast. And Glaber, but LeMahieu was playing all over the field. He really had a great year. LeMahieu, what's the argument for Semien over LeMahieu?
Played 162 games. Scored a crazy amount of runs. Defensively was another Gold Glove guy. I just think it's the argument where it's like LeMahieu was great for the Yankees, but Semien was the best player on a team that grossly overachieved in a lot of people's views.
Yeah, but they overachieve every year, so is anyone even fazed by it at this point?
Yeah, it's kind of old at this point.
Win a playoff series.
Real quick, rapid take. I know we made our prediction a few weeks ago, but given the time that has passed, Bregman or Trout, who you got?
Trout, even though it should be Bregman.
Okay. AL Cy Young, no surprise. Finalists Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander.
And?
Well, the Stros and their former Stros teammate, Charlie Morton, rounding it out. We'll just do the same thing. Morton's going to finish in third. Which Astros taking the award home?
I think Verlander takes it home, but it should be Cole.
NL MVP, they got the finalists right. Bellinger and Yelich going to finish 1-2 in some order. Rendon in third. Same thing. I mean, I think Yelich should win just because I know he missed the games.
He missed the last month. He missed the important
So did Trout,
games.
though.
Well, that's why I said it should be Bregman.
I just think if a player leads the league in average, on base, and slugging, it's hard to not give him the MVP, but I see where you're coming from. So I think Yelich should win it, but I think Bellinger will win it.
I think Bellinger should and will win the award.
Agreed.
All right, NL Cy Young, DeGrom, Scherzer, and Ryu as the finalists. Before we get to that, though, do you think playoffs notwithstanding, Stephen Strasburg got snubbed, that he should have been in the final three?
He's the guy I think should have won the award. Because I think the most underappreciated stat nowadays is innings pitched, and he led the league in innings.
Yeah, and at 18 wins.
He was out there every 5 days taking the ball, throwing 7 innings a start for that team that needed every inning out of him because of their bullpen inconsistencies. He kept that team afloat because Scherzer missed a bunch of time.
All right, but given that those are the finalists, I think DeGrom should win, and I think DeGrom will win.
I'm done with DeGrom. I'm over him. He's got to win some games to win this award. This is like, come on, dude. I know that the Kill the Win campaign is sweeping the nation, but win the game. That's the most important thing at the end of the day.
It's true. That's when players get either contracts or pink slips based on how many games you win. All right, so a team that's won a lot of games the past few years but has really come under fire the past month or so is the Houston Astros. I mean, this really all started in the ALCS. Stephanie Epstein of Sports Illustrated gets into it with assistant GM Brandon Taubman, who says, "Thank God we got Ozuna. I'm so fucking glad we got Ozuna." I mean, basically he was saying, I'm glad we traded for a guy who was on the trading block because of domestic abuse. If you don't remember, when he made that comment, that was right after Ozuna gave up a home run to tie the game in the ALCS Game 6, game the Astros later won. Taubman got fired.
He made that comment after he gave up a home run?
Yeah, it was that game.
It was, yeah.
Why would he make the comment after he gave up a home run?
Because
That's the whole point.
Yeah, he's a bad guy.
Because he's a piece of shit.
Oh, I thought it was after they won the game.
No. Well, they did win the game.
But Ozuna
but
gave
why
up a
would you
home
be
run
happy that
to
you got
LeMahieu.
a guy who almost sent it to a Game 7?
You wouldn't.
Except.
He's a bad
I'm glad we have Bryce. We can explain this out way more than I was going to for our listeners. All right, so they have that. Then there's a story in The Athletic that basically just trashed the Astros culture, saying it's like so cutthroat. It's run like a conglomerate factory. You know, there have been times where front office people have been up for promotion or another team have inquired about him and the team doesn't say a thing. People are afraid for their jobs. And then today it comes out that the Astros are, in fact, cheaters.
Boom.
Trevor Bauer's been saying it for years, and everyone thought, well, Trevor Bauer, you're a crazy Trump supporter. Your opinion means nothing. But now Trevor Bauer's going on Twitter saying, screw you guys, I'm right.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Thank you for doing it. I didn't want to do it, but so
It had to be done.
So Mike Fiers, who's now pitching in the Athletics, pitched for the Stros from 2015 to 17. He detailed to Ken Rosenthal in the Athletic today.
But that's messed up.
All right.
Is he going to get beamed the first time he comes to the plate this season?
Well, he's a pitcher.
Doesn't mean he won't come to the plate this season.
He should
In
get
the American
beamed.
League, it might be tough.
He should be beamed, and I don't condone beaming often. But snitches get
Do you say
stitches.
beaming or beaning?
It's like a lima bean.
It's like
Beaning, not like Jim Beam.
I thought it was Jim
Well,
Beam.
Bryce does like Jim Beam.
I know that, but
I thought it was beam.
bean, like a beanball.
Like I'm gonna beam you.
No, like a bean bag.
Not like a laser beam.
Yeah, like a laser beam. Exactly. I think it's laser beam.
It's not.
It's definitely not.
I think it's laser beam.
It couldn't be less laser beam.
So someone's gonna laser beam this guy in the face because he's just like, you can't snitch. Wasn't he on that 17 team? Doesn't he have a ring because of that cheating?
He does. So to detail,
Fire's bad. Dude.
so to detail the cheating, they had a camera in center field that was zoomed in on the opposing catcher's signs, and then they had a screen in the hallway of their dugout where they would basically have either players or coaches studying the signs.
By the way, they definitely had a dude whose job it was to hang out in the
Yes,
hallway,
100%.
watch TV, and when it was a change-up, go, change up! And then the guy in the dugout would smack the garbage can.
Yeah, so the guys would smack the garbage can
I would have
loud.
done that job.
Danny Farquhar, who was a pitcher for the White Sox at the time, he actually told a story where he threw, in his opinion, 3 straight great changeups. and they were all fouled off, and he was pointing to his ear because he can hear the banging of the drum. That video is now circulating around Twitter. So if you want to hear the Astros banging the drum to cheat, you can go on Twitter and see it. What do you guys think the penalty is for this?
Speaking of Twitter, Aaron Judge just acknowledged that they were cheating.
Correct. What do you think the penalty is? How deep do you really think this went? Fires said, some players didn't want to be a part of it, but AJ Hinch has got to know this is going on, the manager of the team.
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I think your boy Ryan Spader said that everybody else's favorite team is cheating too.
Fair.
And to a certain point, I agree with if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But if you get caught, there should be stiff penalties.
And just to be clear,
do you suspend Hinch because he's the manager?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what you do.
Not that it's the same governing body, but players have lost Heisman trophies for far less. Teams have lost national championships for far less.
Sean Payton was suspended a year with Bountygate, and that's the first comparison.
Well, I think where it's going to be the most interesting now is the MLB, gets Brandon Talbot fired. They're still investigating that, so they're going to be interviewing him a ton. Do you think now that he's no longer an employee of the Astros, he's like, screw it, let me cooperate with the MLB, try to streamline my way to get back in the game?
No, because if he does that, he doesn't get another job.
He never gets another job. He's a snitch.
Yeah, if he does
Chase,
that,
you seem to be very pro snitching culture.
Yeah, if he does that, he's screwed. But other people will confirm because that's how sports work. You leave a team after a short period of time, not always on the best terms. There are other guys that will retire, have nothing to lose, be like, yeah, I was against it, even if they weren't.
People will vouch for the cheating seems to be pretty acknowledged throughout the game now that fires came forward.
People were saying they were cheating this postseason.
It's just now we have a tangible evidence.
Very easy comp would be Spygate. I guess that's the easiest one.
Garbagegate.
What's Garbagegate?
This, because they were banging on a garbage can.
Just because the Astros are fucking garbage.
Nice.
But no, they're going to forfeit a draft pick? They may lose a draft pick anyway if they sign someone in free agency.
It needs to be stiffer than that because that's
international signing money. There's a bunch of ways to go about it, but
I think
sending a message.
I don't know how this would look, but I think it would have to be restricting the amount they could spend on free agents.
By the way,
can't.
If you can prove with pretty solid certainty that they were in fact cheating, I have no problem if you go with the college route and cancel wins, take away
Plus, that World Series, and again, they said, according to Fires, this was done by the postseason. But again, who knows at this point? You open Pandora's box.
Well, A-Rod used to stop cheating.
That 2017 World Series was epic. That 7-game series with the Astros and Dodgers. So,
well, the Dodgers could have won that if they started Kershaw. I don't think they can do anything about that retroactively.
Correct. I'm just saying to the vacating wins point.
Vacating wins that's a weird move for a professional league.
There hasn't been really an instance of a team getting caught cheating in-game like this. Maybe ever.
No, I agree.
What other sport can you cheat in a game?
Spygate?
That's not cheating in-game. You film practices, you don't know what...
Deflategate.
Yeah, maybe. If you film practices, you know what they may run, but you don't have an earpiece listening to what play the coach is calling every time. This, you literally know when they're going to throw a changeup.
Suspend Hinch.
It'll be interesting. All right, a couple of the Hot Stove's first contracts. Aroldis Chapman back in New York. He opted out, but then extended his contract through the 2022 season. Tacked on another year and another opted out of 2 for $30. It is now 3 for $48. He opted out of his 5-year, $86 million contract with the Yankees. He said on Twitter, New York, I told you I wasn't going anywhere. Despite giving up that walk-off homer to Altuve in Game 6 of the ALCS. He had a great season, all-star for the 6th time. He won the Mariano Rivera Award as AL's top reliever. 60 appearances, 2.21 ERA, 42 saves. Get in there in a second. It's all there.
Hurry up. Let's go.
It's all in the notes.
Fastball velocity was a little bit down, but it averaged 98 miles per hour this year. Wipeout slider, he used that a career high 31.1% of the time this year. 2.61 ERA, 91 saves over the first 3 years of the deal. For luxury tax purposes, it's actually going to go down a little bit for the Yankees, which is cool. And this takes him through his age 34 season. Personally, I love Chapman. I know that last home run left a bitter taste in our mouth, but
It's a good deal.
It's
Thank
a good.
God you have Chapman, Chase. Are you also
It's
a
a-
pro sex offender?
Wow.
Pro
These are really
domestic abuse person?
heavy allegations here.
No, I'm not pro that, but
You just said you're happy you have Chapman. I think
I think it's a good deal, and I think it should be the last deal the Yankees give him.
I agree.
I don't want him on the team.
I think tagging on 1 extra year is totally fine.
And that last year, he's going to be terrible. By the way, I'm telling you now,
That's
gonna
true with every single Yankee contract.
Yeah, his last year. By the way, the duration of the contract he might be bad, but that last year he's going to be brutal.
I think he'll be okay at 33. I think a guy who throws that hard, the big drop off comes at like 35, 36.
The big drop
His
off.
secondary pitches aren't very good.
And by the way, the big drop off came. He dropped 6 miles an hour in maximum velocity.
I mean, like the epic drop off, though. I mean, if you're
6
still
or
averaging 98,
maybe 4?
if you're still averaging 98, you're still pumping gas.
That's
I'm
true.
talking like the 94, 95.
He was well over 100 up until this year.
Consistently throwing in the 101, 102 range. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think given some of the inconsistencies of the bullpen and the fact that who knows if Betances is going to be back, and even if he is back, if he's going to be healthy, Domingo Germán, who I do not support, might not
why
be
do you
back.
support Chapman and not Domingo?
Because Domingo made physical contact.
And Domingo stinks.
I mean,
Jimmy coming in from the kitchen. Domingo stinks.
Chapman shot a gun at a woman who was his significant other.
Just in the direction. No, it was bad. It's very bad.
Get him off
It
the
was a
team.
warning shot.
Like a guy,
Jimmy, get a stick.
a guy whose career is all about like pinpoint accuracy. He's lucky he's not that accurate, because otherwise he'd be in jail.
He should be in jail, but that's neither here. My sense of the law is bad. He's bad guy, bad thing. I don't want it
Also-
associated with the team.
Freakishly sweaty.
Like Mo Torres level.
I think he's like applying spray or something in the bullpen.
Freakishly sweaty.
He's just giving himself a Gatorade shower
It drips
before
out of
he's-
his hat, out of the brim of his hat, which is crazy.
All right, next guy to opt out, Stephen Strasburg at age 31. He had 4 years, $100 million left on the contract, but after an epic season, epic World Series, no surprise he opted out. Let's just cut right to the chase. If not DC, where do you think Strasburg's going to end up next year?
New York.
And for how much?
New York for whatever he wants.
Interesting. I don't think New York.
San Diego, 7 for 200.
I think he's going to be back in DC.
What? That wasn't an option.
That was You said
I'm going to say but. Let
You
me
said
finish
if not
my
back in DC.
sentence. I do think he's going to be back in DC, but if he's not, he's a Southern California guy. Give me the Angels signing him and Garrett Cole.
To go with Pujols?
To go with Pujols,
That's a horrible take.
Otani, and Trout.
That's a horrible take. That's not going to happen.
That's a terrible take.
I really don't think it is. Their owner consistently is so fine with pissing away money.
They have so much money already dedicated to Trout and Pujols.
But you know who's coming off the books this year? Maybe the year after?
Not Pujols.
It's not Pujols.
Pujols comes off, I think, in 2021.
I think it's 2022.
Well, he signed it. What was
He
it?
signed
10-year
so
deal?
it's 2012 to 2021. So he's got but he's still. I think
You
that
backload the contract for Cole or Strasburg. They'll be fine.
I think
with
they
that.
did that with Pujols.
Imagine being so sick you can opt out of $100 million.
No, I legitimately cannot.
If I get $100, I'm pretty happy.
Oh, stoked.
If I get $10, I'm happy.
If I can save $10 because my friend's in a different state, I'm very happy.
My tax returns from the state of Connecticut gave me back $11 this year.
I've never filed taxes.
I owed money.
How much money do you have to make to file taxes?
I owed money.
Any amount.
I owed money to the state of New York this year.
Oh, so you also suck at filling out those forms? Because
Apparently, my accountant does.
you should fire him.
Full
Or
disclosure: when I say my accountant, I don't mean to sound like a snob. My family's accountant.
your family should fire him or her because
You should have Nathan do your taxes. Shameless plug, Andrew Nathan Accounting.
all right.
All right, gonna plow through these real quick because I have no opinion one way or the other. So I'll just let Bryce be the one to say yay or nay. Bryce, Gold Glove winners this year.
How did both pitchers get traded to different leagues and still win the award?
So, real quick, managers and up to 6 coaches per team vote for the awards. They can't choose their own players. And then the defensive index for SABR, Society for American Baseball Research, was 25% of the vote. Catcher in the AL was Roberto Perez, his first. Matt Olson at first base, his second. Yomer Sanchez of the White Sox won his first at second base. Lindor, his second at shortstop. Chapman, his third at second base. Alex Gordon in left, his seventh. Kevin Kiermaier in center, his third. Mookie Betts in right, his fourth. And Mike Leake at pitcher, his first. I don't really have a problem with any of these. I think they nailed the American League. I think if DJ had stuck to one position, maybe he had an argument, but other than that, I'm okay with this.
I'm at camp 8 weeks of the season. I don't know who's good in the field.
NL Real Muto beating Yachty for his first in the NL. Rizzo won his third at first. That one a lot of people were pissed about. They thought it should have gone to Christian Walker of the D-backs. Colton Wong at second won his first. Nick Ahmed at short of the D-backs won his third. Arenado won his seventh straight to start his career.
Arenado's only been in the league 7 years.
Yeah. David Peralta in left won his first. Somehow Lorenzo Cain just won his first Gold Glove.
He was due.
He was objectively due. Greinke won his sixth.
But got traded to the AL.
So the interesting thing you said there, Mike Leake and Zach Greinke got traded at the deadline and won the Gold Gloves in the respective other
Greinke
leagues.
also won the Silver Slugger somehow.
Good transition. Silver Sluggers, I think they got 1,000,000% right, except for one award. In the AL, Mitch Garver won his first at catcher. Carlos Santana at first. DJ won his first Silver Slugger at second. Bogarts at short won his third. Bregman won his first at third. Trout his seventh. Springer his second. Mookie Betts his third in the outfield. Nelson Cruz won his third at DH. Bryce, any complaints with the AL? Hitting is much easy for us to have opinion on.
Yeah, it seemed fine.
All right, NL Real Muto, his second at catcher, I'm okay with. Freeman winning his first at first base. I'm really happy for Freddie Freeman, but how the fuck does Pete Alonso hit 53 home runs and not win the Silver Slugger for the best hitter at his own position?
He was due.
Because voters are douches.
Freeman was due.
I guess. Ozzie Albies at second, won his first. Trevor Story at short, won his second. Anthony Rendon won his second at third base. Bellinger, Acuna, and Yelich all won in the outfield. First for Bellinger, first for Acuna, and third for Yelich. And Greinke won his Silver Slugger, which is unbelievable that you can get traded at the deadline and win both the Silver Slugger and Gold Glove in another league.
Who would you rather have as a lineup? The AL Silver Sluggers, the NL Silver Sluggers?
NL.
I think I'm taking NL. That outfield is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think Rendon, Story, Bellinger, Acuna, Yelich. Nelson Cruz and Greinke are out of the equation, right? Just to be clear.
Sure.
I don't really know how you would balance that. I guess 8 hitters for both teams.
8 hitters for both teams.
Okay.
I'd still take the NL.
All right, yeah, I'm with you. All right, couple quick last notes and odds and ends before we wrap this one up. Yanks, see we hired a new pitching coach?
Yeah, guy's like 3 months older than Jimmy.
The Blake Show.
Is Jimmy 30?
Pretty much.
Jimmy, are you 30? No, he's... Is he?
No.
No, chicks.
He's close, though.
I don't know. Matt Blake, not to be confused with Scatico golf counselor Matt Blake.
And a member of my first band. We didn't have a name, but we had Quinn Croland on drums.
So the Yankees hired 33-year-old Matt Blake as their new pitching coach. He was one of the key cogs in the Indians' pitching development machine. He was the Indians' director of pitching development, well-versed in analytics. And it's pretty amazing. In 2015, he was the pitching coach for Lincoln Sudbury Regional High outside Boston. His reputation grew due to his work with Eric Cressy, the New England-based performance coach. Did some scouting for the Yankees, and then in Cleveland, he was a pitching coordinator, helped develop Zach Plesac. Jeffrey Rodriguez this year helped Shane Bieber develop into an all-star.
All-star MVP.
All-Star Game MVP, which is true. The Yankees this year were 6th in the AL with a 4.31 ERA. Severino's back. You have Jordan Montgomery coming back from injury. Tanaka, Paxton, Happ, maybe Herman, who should be in as a free agent. Personally, I think if you're going to get rid of Larry Rothschild, I'm always a big fan of go the complete opposite, and you fired an old guy for a young, savvy, sabermetric guy. My only complaint is that the Yankees coaching staff, which was already inexperienced, is now even more inexperienced than a year ago. So we must really trust Aaron Boone at this point.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is this guy basically going to be a hand for the analytics team like Boone is?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
All right. That's cool. I like that.
Also, I think at this point, Boone has enough experience.
That's
He's won 100 games.
That's actually true. Also, the baseball
playoffs,
season is so long that if you're a coach for one season, like that's a lot of experience.
And there hasn't been that much roster turnover. I think Boone's very comfortable as a manager at this point.
All right, qualifying offers, $17.8 million this year. 10 players received them. When I name them, just say yes or no of whether or not you're going to accept, or they're going to accept or reject. Again, remember the qualifying offer is the average of the top 125 salaries in baseball. And if you reject it, you're tied to draft pick compensation. Team that signs you has to give up their first or second round pick, depending on where they're picking in the draft. All right, so the slam dunk knows Donaldson's not taking it, correct?
Correct.
Strasburg?
No.
Anthony Rendon?
No.
Garrett Cole?
No.
Mad Bum?
No.
Wheeler?
No.
Okay, here's where it's going to start to get interesting.
Ozuna, no.
Ozuna, no, you think? I think he'll get a multi-year deal somewhere.
He's the best outfielder on the market.
What do you think about Will Smith? He's not going to get $17.8 million a year anywhere else.
If he wants a
Hollywood.
long-term commitment from a team, then he's going to opt out. But that $17.8 million payday is a lot for one season.
Yeah, I think you bet on yourself and then go to get like a 3 for $30 deal after.
I would do that.
That's what I would do if I'm Will Smith.
Not Will Smith, the actor, correct?
Correct.
That's
or not Will Smith, the catcher for the Dodgers.
I thought we were talking about the actor this whole time.
No. He would definitely take that. His last movie bombed.
What was his last
Gemini
movie?
Man?
Except
Aladdin.
he has more money than God, so I don't think he really cares.
Well, he's a genie, so he could always just wish himself more.
He gave himself
What
more
do you think
wishes.
about Jose Abreu?
He's going to opt out, re-up in Chicago for long-term.
I'm with you there on that. This is, to me, the most interesting one other than Will Smith. Jake Odorizzi. Tough second half. Was an all-star this year, though. What do you think he does?
I would, if he likes Minnesota, I would take it and try and bet on yourself and get a bigger deal.
Or you see if you could get the same, not a crazy deal, but 3 for 54 from the Twins, where it's good for both sides, and the average annual value is around the same.
It's higher, so he'd probably get 3 for 45.
Or 3 for 51 even, where the Twins still feel like they're coming out a little bit on top.
That seems like a big deal to give this guy, though. I wouldn't do that if I was the Twins. I'd take it, bet on yourself, get that $18 million payday, and try again next year.
All right, per Evan Drellick of The Athletic, the automated strike zone is coming next year.
Because Odorizzi's a guy, now that I'm thinking it through, Odorizzi's a guy with a draft pick attached. That's not worth the draft pick.
Yeah.
He's a guy that's very much hurt by the competition.
I think Wheeler is worth the draft pick, because I think there's still untapped potential there. I think with Odorizzi, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
All right, the automated strike zone is coming. Per Evan Drellick of The Athletic, testing is already going on in the Independent Atlantic League and the MLB Run Arizona Fall League, and it will arrive in the minors in some capacity in 2020. Guys, especially after this postseason, what do you think?
Umpires are kind of
let's do it.
meatheads.
Umpires stink. They are terrible at calling balls and strikes. Let's just do it and get it over with.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of... I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, it really changes the game. And that's a drastic change for a sport that doesn't like to do drastic changes.
Kind of a necessary change, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. That'll be something that the union will talk about for sure coming up in the next CBA. But the union head, Tony Clark, blew a gasket last week when Atlanta Braves general manager Alex Anthopoulos, during a conference call with the media, said, every day you get more information, and we've had time to connect with 27 of the clubs. Obviously, the Astros and Nationals being in the World Series, they were tied up, but we had a chance to get a sense of what other clubs are going to look to do in free agency, who might be available in trades, etc. Later clarified and said, in advance of the GM meetings, I called around to clubs to explore the possibility of potential offseason trades. At no time during any of these calls was there discussion of individual free agents or the Braves' intentions with respect to the free agent market. Tony Clark rightfully goes ballistic, pretty much saying this is the definition of collusion. Another GM said, are we supposed to only talk about trades, and what do they want? And if they do want us to talk trades, can we do so with no other context? And in the union's eyes, the answer is yes. For what it's worth, the CBA specifically says under Article 20E1, players shall not act in concert with other players and clubs shall not act in concert with other clubs. What do you guys think? Is this collusion or not? And
Of course it is, and this guy's an idiot for saying it publicly.
He's an idiot for saying it publicly, but I don't really have an issue with the act. It's like, that's how else are you going to figure out the market?
It's the way the rule is. You can't, air quotes again, can't do that, and he's so dumb for saying that publicly.
yeah, I think it's one of those things where it's just don't be the guy to get caught.
Yeah, and don't talk about it. If you don't talk about it, you can't possibly get caught doing it.
Yeah, I just think this is
Go those extra 10 feet in the woods. Just keep it out of the limelight.
Yeah.
This is just a classic example of a terrible, terrible timing because the union and owners' contention is at an all-time high right now. And this, to me, just could be you're adding kerosene to the fire. Bryce, I'll ask you this. Did you look at the 2020 Modern Era Hall of Fame ballot at all?
I peaked
The
it.
10 guys.
Munson's on it.
Yeah, did you have any thoughts of guys who should get in?
I mean, I have a lower standard for the Hall of Fame threshold. I'll have to go look over the list real quick. But I mean, all those guys are on the ballot for a reason. They might as well let those guys in.
Yeah, so you get 4 votes. It's the same thing. It's a 10-guy ballot.
Who's your 4 votes if you have them?
My 4 votes would be for, so the ballot itself, Dwight Evans, Steve Garvey, Tommy John, Mattingly, Marvin Miller, Thurman Munson, Dale Murphy, Dave Parker, Ted Simmons, and Lou Whitaker. My 4 votes would be Marvin Miller. When he was head of the Players Union, I mean, he made free agency a thing with Kurt Flood. And if Bud Selig, who allowed steroids into the game, is in, Marvin Miller should definitely be in. Ted Simmons, one of the best hitting catchers of all time. Lou Whitaker has a higher WAR than Derek Jeter and Larry Walker, both of whom are going to get into the Hall of Fame this year, in my opinion. And then my 4th guy would be Dwight Evans. He's a guy who, with a little bit of past context, probably was a Hall of Famer during his playing careers. I mean, he was top 5 in the 20 years he played at the MLB in home runs, hits, and RBIs, and won 8 Gold Gloves. I mean, to me, that's a Hall of Famer.
I would agree with you on the commissioner. Let all those commissioners in.
He's not a commissioner, head of the Players Union, but semantics.
Same thing.
If you have a position like that, you are so impactful.
Kind of the opposite, in fact.
You're so impactful in the history of the game. Let Marvin Miller in. Whitaker, I agree with everything you said. I would probably...
I'm also team Tommy John because he won 280-something games.
And history of the game-wise?
And, I mean...
And medicine.
Yeah.
I would also... My 4th vote would
To, the
go,
contributors win.
my 4th vote would go to Dale Murphy.
2 MVPs.
Back-to-back MVPs. Great player. Long time in Atlanta. Bunch of Gold Gloves. Let him in.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, last point. Going along with union tension, the MLB this offseason and Rob Manfred tried to institute a free agent signing deadline.
What does that mean?
So it's saying that the deadline would have been for the end of this year's winter meetings, December 8th to December 12th, meaning if you were a free agent, you had to sign with the team by December 12th. How in the world did they ever think that this was going to go over well with the players?
They're dumb.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
That's not how a free market works.
Baseball's exempt from that stuff.
It's true, especially minor leaguers.
So, but that's not the point. That doesn't make any sort of sense.
Yeah, just another thing that I think is a really bad.
I take
look
back
for
what
the
I said
owners.
about all commissioners should belong in the Hall of Fame.
Whoever thought of that, not them.
Not a Hall of Famer. That's a Hall of Shame idea.
That's, yeah. All right.
Or you can join Eminem in the Alcohol of Fame. On the Wall of Shame.
There you go. All right, guys. Any concluding thoughts for this week's show?
Let's go Rangers.
I should also go to the Alcohol of Fame on the Wall of Shame. Me, Eminem, and Rob Manfred.
Alrighty then. My concluding thought is going to be Trout. I'd like to see him win another MVP, but if we can get a Jew to win the award and Alex Bregman, l'chaim nall.
Chase, didn't you not fast on Yom Kippur?
No, I
No,
did
that was
fast.
me.
Oh,
That was me.
alright. So I was gonna say you take a lot of pride or something.
Yeah. No, that was me.
Didn't go to temple, but I also didn't eat or go to work.
I went to work, so I had to eat.
All right. On that note, with Bryce Holden and Sam Beck, my name
Oh,
is...
hang on. The Rangers are going to score. Capo Congo!
Goal!
And we got that live. Hell yeah. All right. I'm good.
I'm Chase Midorsky, and this is the Underdog Sports Baseball Show.